I know Anthony Mackie's been in some hot water for some of the stuff he said on the Captain America tour that he was doing. But this is some of the reasons why I like Anthony Mackie. And I don't know too many things about him personally here, but I really love what he's saying here about the American masculinity, which seems to have disappeared and has been pretty much killed. Now I know people are getting on him about this. Some people are saying this was it's like a homophobic shot or something. But when you listen to him talk about it, he's really just talking about like what a man should be and how you raise a man. And I like this. So I want to play this real quick before we jump into an article. But I really agreed with this. I was like, more people need to have this mentality when it comes to American masculinity. Okay. I think we're good. We're good on my end. Sorry about that. Sorry about the glitch. Here we go.
I keep my boys humble. Like my boys have never had a pair of Jordans. You know, my boys don't do all that internet fly shit. I'm like,
that fly shit.
And no, I don't give I could be the biggest star in the world. Do not let me catch you being stupid. Mm-hmm. Do not.
Love it.
My oldest gets it. My 15-year-old, he tells the other ones, he's like, yo, don't make dad mad. Because once you get one that's right, he's going to straighten the other ones out. Mm-hmm. So it's just that thing of, in the past 20 years, we've been living through the death of the American male.
Facts.
They have literally killed masculinity in our homes and our communities.
Love it.
For one reason or another. But
speaking truth here.
To be young men. And however you feel about that, you feel about that. Right. But my boys will always be respectful. They will always say, yes, sir, yes, ma'am. No, sir, no, ma'am. They will always say thank you. They will always open the door for a lady. They will always make sure that their mother is taken care and provided for.
I'll just add on to that. Open the door for anybody. I mean, this is how I was raised right here. Yes, sir. No, sir. Thank you. Please hold the door for a lady. Open the door for a lady. Hold the door for an elderly person. It doesn't matter. You know, it's just being polite. It's what it is to be a man. Let's go.
They will always be men. And that's always since they were 2 years old. Every time I left for a job, I tell my 15-year-old, you're the man of the house. You make sure these doors are locked every night. This alarm is on. You text me or you call me every night before you go to bed and you wake up. I love that. Because we're men. If I'm not there to protect, he got to be there to protect.
Great message.
You can have all the money in the world, climb through the window. That money means nothing. Right. You can have all the celebrity in the world. You jump through the door, that celebrity means nothing. Yeah. So you got to have a little guard in there, you know? And so for me, it's always that idea of American masculinity is very different.
Yes. I love that. I love it. So he's messed up and said some things on the Captain America Brave New World, whatever the thing was called, trail, but I have to bring it back. Like, that stuff was absolutely important here. It was important to say, because we have lost the American masculinity. Men aren't taught to be men anymore. You know, we're becoming more of a very feminized country with the toxic masculinity and all that stuff. But I think the masculinity is coming back because you need it, you know, and that's not a shot to anything else. You know, you need femininity, you need masculinity. It goes hand in hand, right? Nothing has to hold another one down. But yeah, he's getting some pushback because people think that it's like a shot against like gay and trans and all that kind of stuff, which is not. It's not. But it's like, raise your boys to be men. Raise them correctly, you know, with respect. You know, men should be protectors. They should be providers. And that's how you should raise them, you know, with respect, with the ability to, you know, treat people the way that they should be. So I saw that and I was like, that is awesome. Kudos to him. Hopefully he doesn't get too much of a pushback on that, but hopefully more so that people actually hear that and it inspires other people, because I think the majority, that's how I was raised. I think a lot of people in the chat, that's how you were raised, probably how you raised your kids now. That's how I raised my daughter now, not to be a man, you know, but to be respectful, to be, you know, to be what it is to my wife teaches her what it is to be a woman as she's growing up, you know. You need that. American ideals. It's important. It's unique. Shout out to him. All right, Sheldon Martin, appreciate you, brother. Oh, you're saying later stat. I thought you said later chat. Stat. All right, brother. Time to head to sleep. Good night, all. Hope you're doing good, brother. Have a great night. Have a great week. And thank you for hanging out. Got Citizen Ronan in the chat. My little guardian is a SNW. My little guardian is an S. Oh, Smith & Wesson. Took me a second. I'm not good with that stuff, man. You got to put it out there. It takes me way too long to figure out what this letter means and this letter means. You know that about me. You know that. By the way, did a series of ads that included a few Batman villains? Oh, the what you were talking about? Tag me on Twitter or X about it, and I will definitely check it out. There's always going to be selective outrage over anything that is said in a public venue. A level of response commensurate. All this tripping me up with words to the popularity of the speaker. And I get you on that. I get you on that for sure. All right, I'm gonna close down all these windows so it doesn't keep booting me. All right, let me jump into what are we doing on time? We're good. I always wonder if I'm getting through the show at a good pace or not. So let's jump into let's just do that. How many people are I asked this last week and then it froze on me. So we're gonna see how this works. Key thing now is is there enough real men to teach these up and comers how to be one, or is it going to be on us Gen Xers, grandparents? Now that's a great question, man. The one saving grace I'll say is I'm right there on the line of Gen X and millennial. I guess I grew up always thinking I was Gen X, and someone was like, "Oh no, you were born in this day. You're actually a millennial." I'm like, whatever. The majority of the people I grew up with, guys are the same age as me, late 30s, early 40s, they all kind of grew up the same way, taught how to be men, by masculine parents. So I think there's going to be an okay. I don't think we're going to have this massive skip of generation of masculinity. I just think that there's been too much the loud people on social media, the echo chamber of people that kind of fall into the toxic masculinity aspect of America have just been making a bunch of noise for too long, right? But I do think that there's enough people out there that have been raised the right way and will raise their kids the right way that I don't think that there's going to be that much of a drop off. So I'm actually pretty confident, pretty hopeful going into the future that we are going to see that kind of come back. And what's going to happen, what's going to make that even more possible and attractive is seeing that in our entertainment. And one of the good things I see kind of the shift right now that there's a pushback on the wokeness. A lot of people are kind of done with that and they kind of want to see more things going back to the way it was. And let's celebrate masculinity. Let's celebrate patriotism. Let's make people excited about being these things again. And I think it's going to resonate again with another generation. So I'm not too worried about it, to be honest with you. I think we're in good hands going forward. I'm the same. You literally got to spell it out. Dude, partly, I mean, dyslexic, it bothers me. A lot of times I'm good, sometimes I'm not. Sometimes I get words I don't even think I'm going to get and I nail it. And other times I'm just like, too many letters. They just, thank you, Aldous. Again, Aldous knows me. He just did that on purpose. He did that on purpose because he wants to see me fuck up. But smaller words, dude. I can't compete with your encyclopedia over there. Key thing now is, oh yeah, I read that. Same with your age. Yeah, I think it's a great age. I think this is a great age of raising the next generation. And everybody in my age that I'm around, granted, I'm growing around or grew up around small town folks, not so much city. I haven't spent a lot of time in the cities except for when I used to play shows in the cities or conventions or stuff like that. But I feel like that's a mentality, So I personally don't have any fear. Like I think we're going to be fine. I think there's going to be a new generation of men that grow up, a generation of women that grow up the way that they should, and we're going to be good. We're going to be good. Men of my generation work, gym, enjoy our hobbies, and keep to ourselves. There you go. That crap comes from the bigger cities. Go out into the smaller communities, and it's always been the same in terms of raising little boys. Yeah, 100%. That's kind of what I was just saying. Like I come from that small town mentality, more of the country kind of mentality, and that's what it is. You don't have time to not be a man. You have to grow up being a man. Responsibilities are taught from an early age. We're Gen X, Joe. We remember a world before the wall, and we're raised by our parents throwing our asses out the door in the summer and not unlocking it until the street lights came on. Dude, I was talking about it the other day. It's so funny thinking of my childhood and just how different it was in general. Just spending so much time outdoors. Granted, there was a lot of times I spent a lot of time in my bedroom because once I got into comics and drawing, I wanted to be at my drawing table, and my mom had to kick me out the door and be like, "Go run around." But I lived in the woods. Me and my brothers, we'd go out, we'd build forts, so we'd play in the woods all day long, riding our bikes on the road, the country roads and stuff like that. So yeah, it was a time, probably the last generation that had that kind of freedom before technology really kind of came in and hampered things. And technology is good for certain stuff, but for the younger generation, I even see it with my kids and my friends' kids. Not that you're wanting to, but they're just from an early age. Phones are right there, tablets are right there, early age, and it's kind of hard to keep back because that's just what society is now. So you really have to push back on it and work hard. All right, technically Generation X or Gen X is 65 through 80, but there's a grace period of. See, that's what I'm saying. I was born in 82. So I've always considered myself Generation X, and I'm going to continue to do that 100%. We just have well written characters, again, both male and female. With the women, they think they have to make her match. Yeah, no, that's 100% what we need. What was great about the 80s, 70s, 80s, going farther back, I'm sure everyone that reads the older books know you can have strong female characters and still be feminine. I mean, there's a way to do it because that's what they are. You don't have to make them masculine. You don't have to try to make them take a place of a male character to be a lead or anything. Like, we'll get back to that. I know Kayla's getting back to that. I got a book coming up. Hopefully we're going to crowdfund this year that she is writing, and we're going to find out, we're going to see a strong feminine female character that is going to be absolutely amazing. You guys are going to love her. Brian Norris said, "Isn't that Dune actor guy like popular with the younger generation? He's a twink with what actors are even considered masculine anymore?" I think that's going to be the thing. You're going to have to see a new generation of masculine character or masculine actors coming up in Hollywood right now. As much as I like that guy, I can't remember his name. I do like him as an actor, and I like Tom Holland and stuff like that. But they're not Schwarzenegger, or John Claude Van Damme. Or Bruce Willis, growing up. And think of the guys we had, the masculine characters, the masculine actors that we had on TV when we were growing up. I mean, think about that compared to now. It's really insane. Like those were our heroes, muscles, guns, fight, like all that stuff, be a man, stand up, protect, revenge, all that stuff. And, now you're seeing what you're seeing now. So I think if you see more actors coming up and people actually willing to make those style movies again. Like, I don't think we're ever going to get the 80s action stars like we used to. I don't think that's going to ever happen again. But I think you can have characters and actors coming up that are pushing more of those ideals. And I think if we do, I think we're going to be in good business. Nah, we had freedom like that too. All right. Well, yeah, maybe. Okay. But you're not that much younger than me. I don't think. Maybe you are. I'm not sure. We were lucky to have grandparents who went through the Depression and World War II. They taught us not to be pussies. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, a lot of that is facts, especially you have a generation previous to us that went through some hard times. The greatest generation, called the greatest generation for a reason. And then you had the baby boomers. They went through shit. They went through shit. And then they passed that along to the Generation X's. And for the majority, I would say the Generation X has passed that on through the millennials. It's just, it's the city. No offense to everybody that's living out there, lives in a city. You might be offended. Like, all right, let's quit with the being so offended these days. All right, sticks and stones, man. Like when I was growing up, it's sticks and stones. Words, they can't hurt you. You're stronger than that. All right, thick skin. Let's go. Have a difference of opinion. Don't worry about it affecting you. Somebody else can have a different opinion. It doesn't affect me. I don't give a fuck. I believe what I believe, but let's not get offended by everything. So I'm not putting down the cities. I'm just saying it seems like a different mentality. And if you're in the city and you have the same mentality, shout out to you, man. Shout out to you. Greetings from Raleigh, North Carolina. Thank you, K. Ojo. Great to see you here. Thank you for being here on the Ronan Joe Show Sunday night. Let's go. Don't look at Hollywood for anything, Matt. Yeah, not right now. Not right now, but maybe. 1980s and 90s were, there's a reason why I tout the 90s besides just comics. I mean, there was something about the 80s and the 90s, two decades back to back we're never going to get again, that I think were absolutely stellar. And after that, kind of dipped, but I think we'll get back there. I love Westerns. They are probably the best place to see true masculinity and display. Yeah, 100%. 100%. All right, let me. Why is the Pope next to my name? Oh, that was a long running trope when this channel first started. When doing the show out and stuff with my brother Sean, one of my taglines in there was that the Pope calls me JMS. It was just something I made up one day, just being funny, and it kind of took off. So like there was a series of shows or a time there where I did a lot of Pope stuff, and I was like, I put a Pope emoji. I completely forgot it for maybe it's the first month members. So that's probably why it's there. But yeah, it's kind of old school lore, I guess you could say, on this channel. Twisted Dreams is in the house. Says Ronan Joe, what's going on, brother? Of course, every time you were jumping in the chat, I do have to play this.
Subject's notes. The extraction theory papers. Am I the only one who did the read?
I think Generation X Millennial is so bad. They forgot how to raise their kids. Maybe. But that's why I love the fantasy masculine men. Yeah. I need to, again, let's get back to that. Let's make comics like that. Let's make movies like that. Let's get back into music. Let's get past the feminized male twink generation stuff. Again, no offense out there. It's okay that I said it. If that's what you like, if that's what you do, you be you, my friend, and I'll be me. Hey, look at you. You made it through a clip of one of our shows. Thank you so much. Do not forget to hit the like button. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet, and hit the bell for notifications every time that we go live and talk about awesome stuff like you just watched. For an entire clip of the discussion, click above. And if you want a video on a related topic, also click above. Appreciate you. Until next time, take it easy.